This week on SUTV Overtime, we look ahead to what we'll see when we return in January.
All that and more next on SUTV Overtime.
Glad to have you with us here on SUTV Overtime. The last episode for the semester. Jacob Hitz, Patrick Ramsdale. The fall season, not spring, the fall season already done. The winter season is starting to kick off now, and we've kind of got this month here in December where teams are starting to get their feet wet, but by the time we come back in January, it's going to be full speed ahead.
Yeah, and I'm excited, especially for these basketball games. It's going to be just a great time to watch both Shippensburg basketball teams that have started off maybe a little bit slow, but it's going to be a great time watching them.
Both the men's and the women's team were ranked in the preseason polls number 1 in the PSAC East. There have been some rocky patches, couple of injuries. You've got illness on the women's side. Ariel Jones, she hurt her ankle, I believe. She's out for the foreseeable future, at least. We don't know when she will be back. You've got Umbriel Green, a starter who's been out the last couple of days due to illness, as well as some others that are on the bench. But still, the Raiders have played pretty well.
Yeah, the thing is, you said it, this team has adjusted very well on the women's side without Ariel Jones for the past few years. Has been that core piece of that team. And with her gone, everyone thought, oh man, this team might struggle for a little bit. But Destiny Jefferson has really picked up leading this team, and you've seen points come from people that you don't really expect it as much just because you're so used to Ariel Jones putting up 20, 30 points in a game. But we've seen Lauren Mills put up double-digit points in multiple games now. Treasure George had a great game that put up, I believe, almost 21 points or so.
I think so, yeah, her career high.
Yeah, and this team, they've done a good job to adjusting with Ariel Jones on the bench in that boot. And it seems like she's going to be out for quite some time. But this team still is they had a tough little 2-game stretch where they had 2 losses. But other than that, they don't look like they've lost stride very much.
Well, and those 2 losses, I think, came right after Ariel's injury. And the team was still trying to figure out, well, where do we go from here? Now they know what it looks like. Things have really gone their way. They've moved people around. And this lineup, the way they have it now, they can score. They scored 101 points up against Salem. Salem struggled all afternoon long, but Shippensburg came out of the gate strong, and to put up triple digits in women's basketball, pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I think another thing is just how different the team has played. With Ariel Jones, scoring a lot of points, but I believe over the past 2 games for Ship, I believe there's been, 7 or 8 different scorers that have put up double digits for the Raiders. And it's really impressive to see. Before you'd see only really Ariel Jones and Destiny Jefferson, and then maybe Lauren Mills put up triple digits. But other than that, it was everyone else putting up 5, 6, 7 points. But now you have multiple people putting up 15 in a game.
Now on to men's basketball, where you've got Jake Biss still out with that injury. We don't know when he's going to be back. We've seen him at the games, at least with the team. I think the team has missed him a little bit in some of these games. Close game on Tuesday of last week against Cal U, came up just short, but the Raiders, it reminded me of 2 years ago. They get behind early and they claw back at the end.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Coach Fight really does well with this team is when they get down early in a season, they don't kind of just assume, oh, it's a lost season. They're really good at, once it gets to January, really kicking into another gear and bringing the season back.
Now, both the men and the women's team have a tough stretch this weekend. At home, both games. Mercyhurst, keep in mind, on the men's side, the Mercyhurst team is ranked number 3 in the nation. That's going to be a big challenge for Shippensburg. If they have Jake Biss, that would be a good help. If they don't have him, they're going to be leaning on Carlos Carter, I think, a little bit more. Then on Saturday, you've got both teams playing Gannon. This is their last home game for the year, basically, until they come back in January. I believe they're home right out of the gate on the 2nd of January.
Yeah, and I think kind of what you said, the team would love to have Jake Biss for that game, but still, I think the Shippensburg team on the men's side has done a good enough job all season of adjusting this lineup without Jake Biss in it, and has really played a good style of game that once I think Biss is ready to return, I think he'll slide in with no problems. He won't kind of have any of that weird trying to get used to Biss in the lineup again. I think this team is going to be well enough to where you can just kind of throw Bish right back in that lineup, and they'll be good to go.
We'll just have to wait and see. Of course, we've been talking a lot about basketball. Well, let's take a look at some of the basketball from the last week, our top 5.
Kick out, 3 is up and short, and Houck with another rebound.
Jefferson did enough to get over there and put her hand up to alter that shot.
Here is Colbert all the way down the floor with the right hand up and in, and she's fouled.
They're playing good half-court defense.
Ball down low, and now to Johnson, who drives it home on the dish from Carter.
Steph Nauer was saying before the game she is always laughing and trying to have a good time with her teammates.
There is Abby Miller flying in and out to Erin Gibbons, and she knocks down the long 2.
Again, a great job to save by Miller.
Hardy down the floor to Johnson in the corner. Carlos Carter backs up for a 3. Got it! Carlos Carter with the 3. It's a 2-point game with 31.7 seconds to go. No good. Lauren Pettis the rebound quickly out to George. Jefferson running the floor. Tip pass to Mills up and in. Terrific play by Destiny Jefferson.
Even though the men didn't win on Tuesday, there was still a lot to take from that game.
Yeah, and I think both teams, men's and women's side, they're just so exciting to watch this year. And I can't wait to be back in January and watch these teams as they push for the playoffs.
It's going to be a lot of fun, no doubt about it. Short episode for us here on SUTV Overtime this week. We will be back in the spring. Not much will change. We'll be a couple months older, but other than that, we'll still be here and we'll still have a lot of sports to bring you. So for Patrick Ramsdale, I'm Jacob Pitts. You can hear us on WSYC this weekend, Friday and Saturday night, with those 4 basketball games that are coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, once we're back in the new year, we'll have a ton of content for you then. Until then, thanks for watching. Have a safe holiday and a good new year. Good night.